lot of really great people putting in a lot of really good work for a 3-day event with sound Voltex and doubles and Dance Rush and just an unprecedented amount of entrants for an event like this. But we are going to get into Harujun versus Grady, Clash of the Titans. Harujun, a huge up-and-comer, just setting world records on A3, just blowing everyone out of the water. And we're excited to see him play here today. Grady, I think everyone knows Grady at this point. Absolute legend. Been around for so long. So if we could see the song picks here. It looks like we're going to have first Time CSP and Pluto The First 17. We'll see what order they decide to play that in. I do think they're going to have a warm-up song since they haven't played today. I don't know what warms you up for Pluto The First, but if anyone knows, it's these players.
Warming up with Astrogazer, it looks like.
This is a great chart to start out, and you have a lot of tricky rhythms, a lot of crossovers. Really gets you moving for some very, very movement and tech-heavy charts coming up. And you see Harujun using the hit plus, which is a strat some players like to use to get them to hit later. I might have that backwards, but basically it's a little timing thing just to trick your brain into really hitting that marvelous window visually.
That's right. It makes the target look a little bit more like other, vertical scrolling rhythm games.
That's true. I don't know if Harujun plays any other Damani games, but I usually see that with 2DX players, Sound Voltex players. Harujun up a lot on his BB right now, which I think you saw it's 35 perfect. You always love to see personal bests in tournament. Do we have the chat here?
Yes, we do.
Oh, isn't that fun? Hello, chat. That's what I was wondering, LFK. I feel like that would be easier, because otherwise you have to play Pluto The First, which is a lot of work. Both players sitting on an FC. Harujun sitting on a very good pace BFC. Wow.
With Harujun just being so young, and even like today, this being his warm-up round, this is being so being able to get a perfect full combo here.
Being able
just
to
warming
step
up
in front of everyone, just get a PFC. 35. Is that tied with PB? I think that might be the same score. So we're gonna start with first time here. Let me see, whose pick was this? So this was on Grady's list. So we'll see if it looks like Grady has a much better PB, but in tournament, that death run with the kind of tournament pressure that you have in an event like this, that is very hard to nail, and it's really going to come down to a lot of mental game.
Yeah, he's got, when it comes to the personal best, he definitely has a slight edge, but it's definitely in the margin of tournament pressure.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, okay, they turned it off. I thought they were actually playing on Risky. That would be a decision. In the group 4, I agree.
Staying close here.
Wow. Absolutely phenomenal by both players. Just not leaving the marvelous window.
Grady dropping some notes.
Takes a significant lead, but again, this one's so tricky because it's probably just going to come down to the ending. It doesn't matter how much speed you practice, that's never going to be easy. Grady catching up here. Coming into the end run. This is what we were talking about. Champions matches that are so close. Just constant nail biters. Oh my! Did we just see that? Did we just see a near MFC of the first time run? All right, that's a way to start it off.
Starts off with a full combo. I mean, Grady was playing out of his mind, but Harujun just refusing to let that gap close.
That's the thing about these pools. You'll see both players, you can't believe either score, but one of them just gets the other by a little bit.
We're moving on to Pluto the First. Now, if I'm correct, this one's got some serious time or speed ups and slowdowns.
This is one of the hardest songs to learn and to memorize in the game. And you see both players using such different strategies. Harujun plays this on left, and we see Grady turning on such plus. And I believe mirror? And Harujun does not actually have this PFC. But I believe this was his pick. So we'll see. Might just be an EX champion. Oh, okay. They're saying that June has a 17 gold, but it's on gold tab. Oh, because June has likely transferred their data over. That makes sense. We get incredibly close. And so coming into the first stops here, it does look like it's going to trip either player up a lot. I mean, at this level, they're going to have it memorized. And you see, even playing the exact same chart with the same turn, they have such different technique for so much of this chart because you really have to know your foot placements.
Harujun maintaining the distance.
Yeah, really running away with this one, but the end run, I mean, it's another, like, very, very foot speed heavy end. And one mistake on the drill could have you streaming goods. And Harujun takes it by at least 60. That is very impressive.
Both of these songs being full comboed.
I mean, they're some of the hardest to do that on. Just never missing a note. No mistakes here. At mistake on the leg. So we're playing Osaka Evolved version 2 and Max 300X Special. And like we were saying, at this level, the picks become so specialized and difficult to win on because you know the other person will just have that song just completely ingrained in their muscle memory and their memorization. It's just very hard to take someone else's pick. So if you see that happen, that is huge for the other player. I mean, Harujun just got a 2-0, which means he had to win on first time. Well, we're gonna go into warming up with Poochie ESP. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but great song to warm up on. Lots of slow, stamp, intensive stuff.
Love to hear some cradness.
This song is amazing, honestly. We need more songs with these kinds of BGAs. They just go wild. And interesting to see a player as good as JBoy not use fast slow, because it seems like such a strong tool to have, but some players just don't need it and still get absolutely amazing scores without it.
BlueBuster looking a little bit stronger in the warm-up. You know, the warm-up's here for a reason. I mean,
yeah, I mean, JBoy is dropping some misses and grades, but if you can use this warm-up to warm up, then we're looking to have a very close set.
Some people, you know, they'll warm up differently. You know, some people will come out the gate running, you know, PFCs everywhere. Some people need that first thing to really, you know, just get the misses out of their system.
I've seen people warm up with 18s. I've seen people warm up with 7s. You know, as long as you can get yourself into that zone physically and mentally, then that's what the warm-up's there for. I will say this is a bit of sync whiplash if they're going to Osaka 2 first. We'll see how both players adjust to that.
Now this Osaka Evolve series, I believe, having some serious, you know, speed change whiplash even.
Yeah.
Within the song itself.
Within the song, there's so many speed changes, and then you have to make sure you're running very late on top of that. It is one of the trickiest songs to time in the 15 folder, which could be very good for BlueBuster because, as we know, he has every 15 at single-digit perfects.
And with the amount of competition or the tight margin of error we have here, having that timing down is really everything.
You gotta have it down. You gotta find that window and you gotta stay in it. JBoy is just jamming to Blu-ray Poochie Riser. I saw him earlier just warming up with on the gold cap with some just DDR bangers, you know, like 12s and 11s and doing like freestyle stuff. Really cool to see. I mean, we're playing the dance game. Sometimes you gotta dance. Okay, so we're going into Max 300X Special after this, which it's a tricky set. Both players very strong on the intro. Nail the step jumps. Very tricky stop to time, but they both know the chart so well.
100 combos.
Coming up to one of the most drastic speed changes. JBoy picking up a great, getting some perfects there, but it's still a very doable margin of error. About 16 perfects, it seems like.
200 combos.
And a lot of fast coming out from JBoy here. BlueBuster really showing he knows his picks just inside and out. Coming up here, we're about to see why Type 2 is one of the hardest of the Osakas and of the Evolves.
Oh, he drops his perfect full combo, but he's still holding the I stand corrected.
A little trouble on the jump jacks. But still pulls away with about a 35 EX.
Stage clear.
JBoy gets the full combo, but score-wise, just not able to catch up to BlueBuster.
Yeah, you gotta get those perfects down. You gotta be able to hit very late on this one. So that's a huge advantage for BlueBuster because that was JBoy's pick. So we're going into what JBoy has selected against BlueBuster. A song that one of the best runs I've seen on a 17 when BlueBuster has a video of this. Does all the tech, does the side switches. Really big fan of this chart, and seeing someone just execute everything how it was likely meant to be executed is very satisfying to see. I don't think we have a camera here. It is indeed boomer time. It is real DDR boomer hours. Such different techniques from both players on a chart like this that can kind of be done like so many different ways. Coming up to a pretty decent break here before the chart goes off the walls at the ending. Still pretty even. JBoy's really getting his flow back.
BlueBuster keeping a lead with the perfect full combo hold.
Picking up a couple fast, but still, ooh, this, that might have evened it up. JBoy in lead by 1. That's what makes this such a good boss song. You have that full stops to look at your opponent's score, to check the state of things, and then while you're doing that, you actually have to be counting in your head to time that.
It's coming down the wire.
Wow. And BlueBuster just closed it out while JBoy getting the full combo. Phenomenal perfect count by both players. So we have Shiny World CSP was on Harujun's list that JBoy picked, and Trip Machine Evolution 18. So definitely one of the most physically draining sets that we've seen today. And it looks like we're going to be starting with Shiny World. This is another chart like Max 200X Special that has a lot of different ways to play it, some different ways to turn it, and from what I remember, is JBoy turning this? What I remember, their first PFC was on normal turn, which makes you have to do 200 crossovers back and forth. One of the hardest 16s, technically. See, Harujun has 6 on this, really showing why this is in Harujun's list. Oh, and Harujun is playing on Shuffle. That is really interesting, especially because if your Shuffle's worse, you don't get a second chance. This is the tournament. Having very, very good EX score so far. I believe Harujun is still sitting at 1 perfect and really running away with the lead. That is the same rhythm as the Florentine, and in both charts, it is very tricky to get down. Definitely one of the choke points for players going for the PFC. Coming up to a silent stop here. Okay, both players picked up a perfect, but again, JBoy's really gonna have to nail this next section if he wants to run away with this lead. PFC 7 perfects. That is, I guess that's why they picked it. If you can just get 7 on Shuffle, basically seeing a new chart. That's going to be the first game for Harujun, but JBoy still has his pick. So we're going into Oh, that would be great, thank you. Trip Machine Evolution, one of the most technical 18s, incredibly twisty, they've got step jumps. It's definitely a song that would favor someone who is one of the best pump players, who can just do those kinds of patterns. The game asks them to do a pattern, and they're like, fine. I mean, they have green full combo on it.
Select level. Second stage.
Based on personal best, Harujun seems to be at the underdog, but I would never really call Harujun any type of underdog.
Oh, absolutely not. We got some 18s in the building. Hudson just FC Dead Angry Rare special in AAA. That's... These are some matches. These are some wild matches. But Harujun's still sitting on the PFC. It looks like he has about a 20 lead already, and we're just starting. Both players opting to go for the crossovers there and kind of nailing it. Just seeing the technique of both of these players who are very, very proficient in 18s is just mind-blowing. And they're so close.
Harujun maintaining a lead here. Both having full combos.
Definitely extended the lead through the step jumps. We're about to come up to the death run, so JBoy's gonna need to really bring his best out here in order to bring this back. And Harujun PFCs it with the full combo. That's gonna be 2-0 for Harujun. Very, very well played. Yeah, if you guys are curious, we should be streaming on Asiakin's channel as well, if you want to see both of these pools happen. I believe you can squad stream them, but don't quote me on that. So we're going into
Rack Gist.
yeah, that's the name of it. This is a very drill heavy chart. This will really test your stamina. Both these players, from what I can tell, they'll just keep playing all day. So I don't think the stamina here will come into effect too much, but they're still mortal.
And really with any song in the game with Cosmo, you're going to get some real high speed, charting here.
You're not getting away from doing your foot speed. You gotta,
Regardless of the level of chart.
so still holding it very close. There we go. Looks like Grady's really locking into the drills now. And I just got updated. The next song we are playing is Poochie, which is one of BlueBuster's picks. Coming up to a very long break. This is always a good time to catch your breath, make sure your form's right, because you have a lot of 8s coming up. And Grady keeping a very solid lead. Both players showing that this part is not a problem for them. Oh, but Grady picking up some greats. Just about tied. A 3EX lead by Grady. This is Mark's pick. Go 60 go. BlueBuster picked Poochie. just about getting into the end run, which this is very close, so it could swing either way very, very quickly.
Come the drills, and this can really change everything.
Yeah, you see, even these players, they're picking up a lot of perfects on the drills.
BlueBuster taking a head.
It's so hard to tell with this split speed where the lead is, but BlueBuster taking it by 80x. Both players full comboing.
Yeah, with those drills, it can be really hard to time just based off of how fast they come.
Exactly, and you don't have time to readjust yourself after each drill because it just throws another one at you. And we saw BlueBuster had a pretty significant lead in the perfect count, but almost got beat on just the amount of greats and goods. But that's good. That was Grady's pick, and now we're going into BlueBuster's Poochie.
Poochie's got some speed ups and slowdowns.
Oh, you want to talk about drills? This sure has some drills. Very similar to Pluto the First in that regard. You need to make sure that you know exactly where your feet are going. You need to know what part you're going to play on your left foot, what part you're going to be facing left, right, and another chart that you can turn most ways and have it work. We see BlueBuster's playing this on normal, and Grady's playing this on right.
Ready, set, step.
Both these players are reading this very fast. Very long white combo from Grady. Picked up 2 perfects, but still a very good pace going into this part, whatever you want to call this part. BlueBuster dropping a miss on that drill, but overall having a very good run. Players are both keeping it very even, just about a 2EX difference. MF seeing that drill. Grady is just... Grady can do foot speed. I mean, I don't think there's much else to say. We're just gonna have to beat BlueBuster at the perfect count going into this final double speed section that has very tricky foot placement that may be different on right. But we're really gonna see if we're playing this on normal turn or right turn, whether one makes it significantly harder, and if that affects the players.
See if this run can close the gap between BlueBuster and Grady.
Grady's gonna have to nail these last couple triplets. Picks up some perfects, but that was a very, very solid ending. BlueBuster just takes it, so that's gonna be a 2-0 by BlueBuster. 35-1-1. Osaka Evolved Type 2. Did 2 different people pick that?
Yes.
I
got a peek earlier, and I didn't want to spoil a surprise, but
I
was holding back a little bit of giggles.
So Osaka Evolved Type 2, and then Air Heroes CSP.
Which I believe both of those charts now have been played here earlier.
Oh, Air Heroes has been played a couple times. In the previous pool on this side, actually, we had a very, very good match in Air Heroes. Talkian winning by a decent margin, but also very, very hard destroying in the perfect count, which is one of Talk's strengths. So, I don't think I need to say anything about Osaka 2 because, shockingly, we have seen it already in this pool. But BlueBuster's already played this, so he's warmed up for it. But also Harujun still such a tough player to out MA at all.
Now in the previous play of Osaka Evolved, was one of them BlueBuster's pick?
I believe that was... Oh, I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, both players PFCing the first note. That is, shockingly, PFCing the first note of A15 is not an easy feat when it is completely silent at half speed. So both players had a pretty different strategy for those crossovers. BlueBuster just opting to crossover even though they're very slow. And it's so even. Both players nail the speed change. That is not an easy one to hit. Both players just showing such a strong knowledge of this chart. And being able to take the speed changes in stride and just keep hitting marvelouses. Ooh, but a big flub from BlueBuster is going to put... Harujun is actually... It's still pretty tight. But you really see how strong an SDP PV is from BlueBuster when he's at -23 right now. Very good showing on the jump jacks. And Harujun just by 2, gonna PFC it and take game 1.
The match stayed incredibly close.
Yeah, that was an exciting match. That was a nail biter. So, speaking of songs with a lot of crossovers, we're going into Air Heroes, which is the crossover 18. There's very few things in this chart that aren't crossovers. And both players have very strong crossover form. It would be unfair to say that either of them has the advantage in that regard. BlueBuster with a slightly better PV, but as we've seen, Harujun is upscoring most of these in this tournament, and we don't know if he's gotten something better on Gold Cap.
Besides, with differences like that, that difference really is almost no difference.
It's a
when
lot.
it comes to live.
When it comes to a live match like this, it is less of a factor. And it looks like they were using very similar strategies for quick placements and crossovers here. Both players absolutely nailing the beginning. So even, but it looks like BlueBuster has a slight lead. Coming up to what is surprisingly a break in this 18. It's step jumps, but at least you're not constantly crossing over. BlueBuster just not dropping a perfect here. That is... So BlueBuster was actually ahead there on 15 perfect, personal best. Oh, but that might give the match to Harujun. That's a lot of EX score there. Wow. And that's going to happen in that chart. There's a lot of stuff to mess up, and if you drop... So it looks like we have JBoy versus Grady, Trip Machine Evolution 16, so the expert this time, and Engraved Mark 15. So very stamina-intensive charts for their difficulty, but Engraved Mark is not a song that you have to memorize a lot of stuff for, or it doesn't have a lot of speed changes, but it's going to be a very, very strict timing battle. Starting out here with Trip Machine Evolution, one of the hardest 16s. I've heard people argue that it's a 17, so definitely a very rough 16 pick if you're trying to stay in the lower level MA stuff, which to be fair is hard to do in this pool.
All right, let's go.
A marvelous and a great. Ooh, that is going to give Grady a pretty sizable lead to begin with, but definitely we have hundreds of notes.
You got the step, you got the flow. Keep up the perfect combo. 100 combos.
So they've stayed pretty close, but JBoy just dragging a little bit behind.
200 combos.
Yeah, still only minus 60x. This is still very even. These are very hype matches, and Jude is very good. I've never seen more truth in this chat. Yeah, Grady's starting to run away with the lead, but there's still a pretty hard death run coming up, which, you know, like we saw before, if you misplace one arrow, if you trip up, then that could be the match at a high level like this. Grady with the PFC, winning by 10. Absolutely phenomenal. 41. And that means we're moving on to Engraved Mark, which again is going to be a pretty strict MA battle because of how it's still very hard, but for this difficulty range, for this pool, it is a much more simple song to play.
We're coming from Trip Machine Evolution down to Engraved Mark. It certainly is it is a wide difference in difficulty.
It's not even fair, really, because you see all those songs, it's like, oh, this song isn't that bad, but then you actually try to play it, it's like, oh, yeah, all of this stuff is just hard.
Yeah, this is by no means a mark against Engraved Mark.
So it looks like we have 7 to 17 PBs.
If anything, it's a testament to the difficulty of everything else that we've seen recently.
Yeah. Yeah, so both players taking a breather after that, which, I mean, who can blame them?
Now, some people in the chat are mentioning that Grady might have an advantage in this due to sharing the same name as the song.
That's true. That's true. But he also might be engraved, which might be a bad thing. But we'll have to see. So both players still sitting at 1 perfect. So here's a pretty long break before a particularly rough section that I think will determine a lot of how this match plays out. JBoy picking up a great, but still MFCing a lot of these drills, which is a huge, huge benefit for the rest of the song.
It's tied for a little bit. It looks like Mark Grady taking a little bit of a lead here. JBoy very close behind.
Yeah, JBoy just trying to catch up in this slow 8th break section. Grady's still sitting on a PFC. Grady will just PFC things in tournament. Like, I don't usually see Grady drop gold combos, even in very high pressure matches. So coming up to the end here, JBoy has a bit of a mountain to climb, but it's still very doable. Still a very close match, but Grady's going to take it, get the 2-0, and I believe that's going to conclude the pool. Yeah, so we have our results for the pool. I believe Harujun came out with first seed, BlueBuster with second, and Grady with third. Great showing from all players. This is going to be interesting to see how the elimination matches go, especially with the added players from the previous Pool 13.